You've probably heard that there is a war on masculinity. Men are scared to be men because of the patriarchy and they don't want to be part of this toxic masculinity. Now, I agree that this is a problem. I think that there is an entire generation of young men who are growing up who are scared of their own masculinity. They're scared to step up in case they are accused of being toxic. They end up socially anxious. They end up underachieving and unable to really fulfill the role that they're meant to in a relationship, the masculine role. And so their relationships end up being non-existent, or at the very least not satisfying. But to call this a war on masculinity, I think is too simplistic, because from where I'm sitting, there is equally a war on femininity. Yes, you have movements like feminism that promote female empowerment, but if you pay close attention, you'll see that the majority of the energy of feminism is directed towards encouraging women to empower themselves in masculine areas. If a woman wants to live without a boyfriend, she wants to be on her own, independent, chase money, success, status, be a real career girl, then she's going to have all of society's support because she's chasing this sort of ambition, but it's in this masculine way. That's what's in, that's what gets the support at the moment, is women who are living their lives more and more like men. Now, feminism may claim to be about empowering female choice, whatever that choice happens to be. And it probably is, I'm not disputing that, but undeniably, one of the unintended consequences of pushing this women can do anything a man can do kind of narrative is that women who choose to focus exclusively on feminine areas of development face a social stigma. There are a lot of women who feel guilty or feel like a failure if the limit of their ambition is exclusively feminine. They've got creative goals, they want to be a kind, moral person, they want to be a good wife and mother, and that's it. There will be women who look down upon them, like you're trapped in the past, or, you're making the rest of us look bad. It's this bizarrely sexist notion that sprung up that somehow femininity is weakness. It leaves us in this bizarre situation at the moment that we've got where we praise women for their masculinity and we praise men for their femininity. So I wouldn't call this a war on men or a war on masculinity. It's a war on biology. It's a war on gender. I don't know. I don't know what to call it, but it sucks. The truth is that both masculinity and femininity are essential ingredients in a healthy relationship, especially if you're raising a family. A relationship needs masculinity for order, structure, leadership, but it equally needs femininity for nurturing, for beauty. The problem with a lot of modern relationship dynamics is that it lacks femininity because the woman is trying to act like a man. It's not attractive and it's not good for the relationship. And so the question arises, as a boyfriend, how do you encourage femininity in your partner? The answer is very, very simple, and it stems from this diagnosis. Your girlfriend is probably acting masculine in the relationship because she senses a masculinity vacuum and she feels obligated to fill it. After all, a relationship does need masculinity, but that should come from you. You are the man after all. Now, perhaps you're scared to be too masculine because you don't want to be perceived as patriarchal or domineering or something like that. This is one of the biggest lies that our culture continues to propagate. The idea that masculinity from a man is inherently abusive. It is absolute nonsense. Being controlling or abusive is not masculine, it's just being a dick. True masculinity is not about enforcing your will on other people, acting like a tyrant or a dictator. True masculinity is acting like a democratically elected leader who has the best interests of everybody at heart and works to serve those interests. It's taking on responsibilities and shouldering burdens so that other people don't have to, so that they have more free time, more energy, more mental space to focus on other things. What's happened is that as your girlfriend steps into masculinity, making decisions and worrying about finances and taking responsibility, all of that masculinity has come at the expense of her femininity. While the man is stressing about whether or not he's part of the patriarchy and whether his masculinity is toxic, he turns into this sort of cowering feminine mess. And so the woman has to step up. She acts like a girlfriend, but also like a mother, But women hate that. Women do not want to mother their boyfriends. They find that gross. And all of that masculinity that she's having to tap into, all those decisions and intellectual responsibility she's taking on, it has the very predictable consequence of drying up all of her femininity. All of the things that you love and enjoy about women, it's gone. Her sweet, nurturing personality, gone. Her childlike joy at the world, gone. Her gratitude and appreciation for the things that you do, gone. Her sexual attraction for you, that's definitely gone. All of that dries up, and very few men are aware of what actually caused this problem. There are actually men who actively encourage their partner to develop their masculinity because they really like the idea of being mothered. The man was happy to receive the benefits of having a masculine girlfriend. He liked her assertiveness, he liked the money that she was bringing in, but what he didn't realize is that he made a deal with the devil. He cannot enjoy all of these benefits of her masculinity without sacrificing the benefits of her femininity. What's more, I don't think that this is a neutral choice. I don't think that most women want to be masculine. They want to be feminine, and they are resentful of the man for not stepping up and not being masculine because it means that they have to. So if your girlfriend is constantly upset, constantly angry with you, you might want to consider the possibility that she is punishing you, that she is angry at the fact that you are reneging your responsibilities as a man. You're not providing the masculinity that she needs and wants so that she can relax into her femininity. The way I think of it is that femininity is like a luxury, you know? Life can be beautiful, caring, sweet, just incredible, but it can only be that way and be safe if all of the masculine details of life have been taken care of. How can a woman truly access her deepest femininity unless she feels confident and certain that there are men, there is masculinity around her protecting her? You know, there are men on guard, making sure that she's not going to get beaten, that she's not going to get raped. She needs the assurance of a strong, healthy masculine protecting her before she can truly let her guard down and relax into her deepest femininity. So in practical terms, what this means for your relationship is that if you want to reawaken the femininity inside your girlfriend, you need to step more deeply into your masculinity. Start making more decisions, take on more responsibilities, show competency in your leadership. I think that it's important that you have a long and thorough look at your values and consider what it is that you want from your life. You know, what is important to you. A lot of this centers around money and men's feeling as though they need more and more money in order to keep a woman satisfied, in order to keep her interested. There are lots of guys who really exaggerate the importance of money when it comes to attracting women, when the truth is that really only gold-digging, low-quality women are superficial enough to pay a huge amount of attention to, extravagant wealth. High-quality women don't actually care that much. They want to be comfortable and secure, but beyond that, there are other life values and ethics that are more important to them than the superficial, luxury pleasures that money can buy. So my advice, especially when you have children, would be to consider downsizing your life. Do you really need 2 incomes? Do your children need 2 parents who are highly masculine and highly stressed and always just trying to make money all the time? Of course, it would be amazing if you were dating a girl who was generating 6 figures for your relationship and she was also a perfect, feminine, gorgeous girlfriend. But like I've said, these things often come at the expense of each other. So you have to ask, what is it that you truly want? If you move to a smaller house or you exist on a smaller income, but you're happier and your girlfriend is more feminine, was that not worth it? I don't want to tell you how to live. Just this is all thoughts to ponder. It depends on your personal value system. But I promise you, a high quality woman is going to be happy that you take the reins in the relationship, that you demonstrate masculinity, because it's going to allow her to relax. It's going to allow her to feel safe. It's going to help her access her own femininity, which is what she wants. Now, some people might say, okay, Alexander, I'll grant you that relationship needs masculinity and femininity, but does it really matter where that's coming from? Like, if you have a masculine woman and a feminine man, is that a problem? It still balances out, right? Well, that might be true if we were blank slates, but we are not. We are biological organisms and the result of millions of years of evolution. Inside you, inside your cells, inside your brain, you have strong biological incentives to be a man, to act masculine. That's why when you do step up and you take responsibility and become the leader that she wants you to be, your brain rewards you with all of those wonderful pleasure chemicals. Evolution specifically crafted you this way to incentivize masculinity. Now, everybody needs both, of course. You want to be a dynamic individual capable of masculinity and femininity. But what I'm saying is that from evolution's point of view, when it's choosing, which gender to incentivize with certain traits, it made sense to pick, cooperating or symbiotic sort of characteristics and to pour them either into masculine men and feminine women. All bases are still covered. It's just that each gender has their strengths. Lots of you know this. You know that it feels good to be a man, and it feels good to see a woman be a woman. This isn't scripture. You can work to override your biology and you can ignore your incentives. And it's actually a legitimate choice. Our society is made a lot more interesting by the fact that there are people, individuals experimenting that way. But from where I'm sitting, I think that it's most likely to lead to your own personal happiness when you live in alignment with what comes natural to you, which is a pretty long-winded way of saying, you're a man, so be a man. Can you deny your biological nature and still be happy? Is it possible to date a woman who is superior to you in some way? And how do you communicate your needs without coming across as needy? All of these topics and many more are covered in exclusive videos available to my Patreon page. This includes my latest video, which is a deep dive into a story that somebody sent me from a man who worries that he may have missed out on a potential relationship with a woman based on how much physical intimacy he pushed for on the first date. I go through his entire story and I give my thoughts as we go, and we have a really interesting discussion about the best chances that you have for success. Whether or not it's more sensible to sleep with a woman quickly so that she is invested in you, or holding back and not appearing desperate or needy. It's a really good story. There's lots of fantastic advice. And for any guys out there who are curious about exactly how much they should be pushing for with regards to intimacy on the first date, I highly recommend this video. For every video that I post here on YouTube, I post an additional bonus video on my Patreon page. That means that at the moment, you're only seeing half of the total content that I create. If you would like access to the other half, then please go and sign up at my Patreon. It's just a $5 a month subscription and you get instant access to a whole bunch of exclusive content. It's a wonderful way to support the channel and I would love to see you over there.